Okay, so today I am presenting, this is crazy but true, our final national park, which is called Zion National Park. And this is by, you can see her name spelled here, Jenneah Cherry, a fourth blocker. And her park, Zion, was established in 1919. And so first take a look at that beautiful background, right? Do you see how narrow the canyon is? And her landscape explanation is kind of evident in that picture. But here's where it's located in the United States. It's in southwest Utah. So it will be very close to Bryce Canyon, also in Utah, not far from Arches, and just across the border into Arizona would be the Grand Canyon. So you'll notice a lot of the same colors of the rocks. And so here are some landscape views. Okay, so you notice the layering. That gives you a good hint about our rock type. And this is a spot called Angel's Landing Trail. You'll see a video of it, but notice the people right there that are going to go right up there. Okay, and then this is a spot called Timber Creek Overlook. So it makes you wonder, how does this gorgeous landscape get there? So Jenneah goes on to say more than 250 million years ago, so that would be like the 5-yard line near today, Zion National Park was formed. Once the area was covered by a low body of water, we've heard that before, right? And eventually huge rivers carved through the landscape. Zion ended up drying up and becoming one of the largest deserts on Earth. The desert sand dunes are now 2,000-foot tall cliffs in the park, and that would be because the recent sand dunes, the river has eroded through. Over the course of millions of years, rock layers were uplifted, tilted, and eroded, exposing all these colorful cliffs. And the reason for the valley, again, is river erosion. Now, one thing that I honestly just recently learned, can you see in this picture, there's the river, but it's a super wide canyon in that spot. But then when you look up here, is the canyon super wide everywhere? And the answer is no. This is one of the most famous parts, called the Narrows. So I had wondered when I visited this park about 6 years ago, what was the story? Why was this so wide? And I couldn't find it then. And I recently learned that once upon a time there was a landslide, and it provided a natural dam for the river. So this is so wide because it flooded and it used to be a lake. So what you're seeing is that leftover lake bed that just still has the skinny river going through. Down here, it narrows out more where the landslide did not affect and dam up the lake. So kind of interesting. But we'll definitely type river erosion as our dominant force. Now, I love Jenneah's connection. You remember this day, hopefully, back in October, where we analyzed Snickers bars, and her connection was superposition. And we cut them in half, and that reminds her, let me go back up, the layers that you see there. This is probably the best one. You can definitely see the layers of sediment, oldest on bottom, youngest on top. Okay, and then here are her attractions. So this is the first one. Angel's Landing is one of the main attractions. This is a trail in Zion, and it's known for its amazing views and scary hiking trail. Notice these people. Notice the river below. And so we're going to watch this, and I want you to think about whether you would do this or not. What do you all think? Would you do it? Okay, so that obviously gives us quite a good sense of what it would be. I would never do it. I'm not afraid of the heights. I'm afraid of falling off, and it looks super narrow. Speaking of narrows, this part is called the Narrows, and it is the narrow section of Zion Canyon. It goes through the North Fork of this river, which is called the Virgin River, and it can take between 10 and 13 hours to do the whole thing. And you can see that you go through the river. And so Mrs. Furman and I did the very first part, and it was gorgeous. So you wouldn't have to do the entire hike to get a good sense of what it's like. But there you can see this is definitely a canyon from river erosion. So we have Angel's Landing Trail as our first attraction, the Narrows, and then this one is beautiful too, the Emerald Pools Trail. So it's one of the best attractions. It's a 1.2-mile walk to the lower pool and a 2-mile round trip to get to the middle and lower pools, and a 2.5-mile walk to do all three. Swimming and having dogs on the trail is not permitted, however. So you can see though that you've got some waterfalls leading to these pools. Now her animals, this first one, I don't know if I've ever looked at a porcupine's face. So there you go. They like higher elevation forests, but they can also be found in lower elevations and even the deserts around Zion. Also, bobcats are in Zion. The bobcat is rarely seen due to its secretive nature and because it's nocturnal. Even though they're hard to find, you can occasionally see one in the main canyon. And then the pika, this one makes me laugh every time. Maybe you've seen a video already with a pika screaming. They have quite a screech, but they're found mostly in the mountains of Western North America. They are pretty rare. They like high elevations, and maybe you've heard this before. They will eat their poop in the winter if they get desperate because their poop has some undigested plants. And then finally, her three plants, primrose, manzanita, and spiderwort. Oh dear. So she says the primrose are common throughout a lot of spots. The spiderworts can be used as a natural laxative. Do you know what that means? It'll make you have a bowel movement. And then she says the manzanita is just evergreen shrubs. Her current event is a sad one. So they found a missing person dead below Angel's Landing Trail. And nothing has been released yet, whether it's the body or not that was the missing person, but it's not the first death in Zion. There have been 43 total deaths listed at Angel's Landing, so you obviously have to be very careful. And her personal reflection, the most interesting thing she learned were Zion's natural rock formations, and she would love to hike Emerald Pool Trail. So pause if you need to. Let's go ahead and type. So that was Jenneah. There's her name spelled. And her national park is called Zion. And it was 1919, but you don't have to put that. Not sure why I said that. And it's in Utah. And her dominant force, we can see right here, is river erosion. Then you do your ranking, how much you would like to go there. But if you do, you're going to put an attraction picture no matter what. And so we have Angel's Landing Trail, the Narrows, and the Emerald Pools Trail.